Welcome back in, everybody. Whatever. Back it in. You're watching the Honolulu Blues podcast. As always, we got me, Nick, and Julius. I got a good episode for you guys today. Although there hasn't been a lot of Lions news like there was the last couple weeks, especially last week when we got the Hard Knocks and the draft news all on the same day, which was huge. But we'll still make it a fun episode. So got the big old NCAA championship game tonight. So I don't know how you guys are feeling. Not really North Carolina or Kansas. I don't know. Do you guys have any affiliates to North Carolina or Kansas, Julius?
I do
Got
not.
any money on the game?
No, I'm not even.
Anything?
I didn't plan on watching it. If Michigan not in the game, I'm not. I mean, North Carolina beating Duke and ending Coach K career was noteworthy. But man, my bracket is busted. I didn't even get my bracket in on time this year, as you know, Adam.
Yeah.
So I had to, luckily that worked out with the pool money. But man, I'm not invested in any way.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a weird tournament, honestly. Once Michigan lost that game, I was just so bad because the next game they definitely could have won, and then even Michigan State too. They should honestly beaten Duke. They had them, and then all of a sudden it was just a couple little plays, and then Duke took over, and it was just game over. But Nick, got any skin in the game?
Not in the slightest. Sorry, I did not have the 8 seed North Carolina make it into my championship. Though I remember watching, I sat there, I swear to God, on opening day, right, Thursday, and for the college basketball tournament. And I can't remember who it was, but it was one of those 4 main guys, right? So I can't remember who does that talk, but it's like Barkley and 3 other guys, I don't know. Well, anyways, one of them predicted Kansas and North Carolina, and I laughed my ass off. Sent a text to my buddy. Was like, "What is this guy doing? Like, this guy's crazy." And I think back about it now, 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, and I'm like, I need to follow him next year. College basketball, whatever he predicts, I got to figure out who it was first, and then I'm gonna figure out. I'm gonna follow whoever that guy is because that's the most miraculous thing I've ever seen. I've only predicted a champion 2 or 3 times in my entire life. Vividly remember the first one, and I may have got lucky a couple other times, but no. If the Pistons are playing or the Red Wings are playing, I'd be watching either of those. If they're not, I'm watching Law and Order SVU. Let's go. Dun dun.
Fair enough. For me, I don't know. I love making brackets, so I got a couple brackets that are in the 98th, 99th percentile, but.
Wait, hold on. I want to jump in real quick. So ESPN, do you do the ESPN Tournament Challenge brackets? Right. Okay. So they used to only allow 10 brackets per person,
25.
Right? How many did you fill out, Adam Start? Now, this isn't an intervention, but please be honest here.
I filled out of the 25 per person, I filled out 50 because I used my brother's account too.
You say 50? That's so much.
I will say, the only reason I did 50 and I auto-generated and half of just, click through buttons.
For sure.
There was a $10,000 contest going on with the sports bettor I follow. And it was just, follow me, enter. You can enter up to 25 entries per person. So I was like, well, shoot, I'll just use my brother's account. Get 50 entries in here. And I had it. I was, after the very first day, I was in first place on my brother's account. And then he finished, I think he'll finish at least one in the top 50 because there was 15, 20,000 people that entered. But all in all, I think I had 1 or 2 that finished pretty good. I mean, I should at least.
1 or 2 out of 50. We'll take it, bro.
Out of 50. But who's not going to have 1 to 2 correct wins, whatever? The Lions. And I say that because our over-under win total was set briefly, I believe. I don't know if it's out on all the books, but it is out on a few of them. And 6.5 is what the bar is set for the Lions. Schedule isn't the hardest. It seems like this offseason has honestly helped us out a bit. The biggest one in which we're not facing Seattle with Russell Wilson. We're facing a tanking Seattle, perhaps. So that could be a loss that's looking like a possible win. So all in all, Nick, 6-5. What was your first thought on that? 6.5.
To be all honest, I thought it was a little. I think it's I think Vegas said it really nice,
Safe.
right and tight, where like most Lions fans think we're gonna be. But I have been preaching that we are gonna win way more games than many Lions fans think we are going to this year. I'm taking the over on this, and I got some stuff here. So we got 7 games against brand new head coaches, right? 2 against Chicago, 2 against Minnesota, 1 against Miami, 1 against Jacksonville, and 1 against the Giants. Honestly, I want to get out of those 7 games with 5 wins. I want 5 wins right there. That leaves us with the Packers twice, the Eagles, Cowboys, Commanders, Bills, Jets, Patriots, Panthers, and Seahawks. Seahawks, Panthers, Jets, Commanders, Eagles. That's another 5 wins. That's 10-7. That is where I'm going to put my Lions prediction. And that might be heavy, and I understand that. 10 wins is where I'm setting the Lions right now. So I'm smashing over 6.5. I think we could come away with 6 wins against brand new head coaches, let alone the other, I don't know, however many 9 games there are, 11 games, 10 games there are. So I'm listen, here we go, real quick, before I let this jump off. The Lions' 17 opponents averaged 22.5 points per game last year, scoring 22.5 points per game last year. If the Lions score 24 or more points on average throughout the end of the season, we'll easily hit 6.5. But if our offense is extremely lackluster and we can't score more than 18, 19, 20 points a game, that's where that big tide is going to turn. I think the defense will be shored up enough to hold these teams to 21, 22, 23 points 10 out of 17 times. It's up to the offense, but we can do it. I'm taking the over 6.5. I think maybe, I don't know. Normally I'm not the person who wants to get, but I'm telling you, we're going to be a shock this year. We're going to be a shock. It's going to be crazy.
I like it. One of these episodes when we get our official prediction score record, whatever, that episode in a few months or however long, I'll be busting out. I'll have a big old Kool-Aid, some blue Kool-Aid I'll be guzzling because I'm right there with you, Nick. I'm looking at the 2022 home opponents, and the first thing I noticed is 9 games, baby. We get an extra home game as opposed to what happened last year when we had to travel to Denver for our 17th game. So now we're getting 9 home games, 8 away games. Out of those 9 teams, the only 2 that made the playoffs were the Bills and the Packers. And actually, did Washington make it? I can't remember. But
no.
Yeah, I don't think so, yeah. So the Bills and the Packers, in which you can honestly kind of chalk we're going to lose at least one of the 2. So it's nothing to get, maybe we could steal one. We know what we're getting with our home games already. So we have the Bears, Vikings, Commanders, Dolphins, Eagles, Jaguars, and Seahawks all at home. Honestly, if the Lions don't win at least 5 home games, I would probably be shocked, bearing injuries or, crazy circumstances. But the home's schedule looks pretty tasty. So if the Lions can, just get a couple nice road wins against the Bears, Vikings, Packers, whoever, I will take it. So yeah, I'm right there with you, Nick. I think 6.5 is kind of low. I think Vegas was kind of setting it safe, not going too high, not going too low. But I think before week 1, this number will be up to at least 7.5. Julius?
I mean, I personally respect Vegas' opinion when it comes to these early odds. And I'm actually surprised that they went 6.5 on the Lions, who had the worst roster in the league by far last season. That, to me, gives me hope that we're not all crazy Lions fans. Nick isn't drinking a Kool-Aid in April. And they know what we know, that the Lions should be improved in multiple areas of the game, both offensively and defensively. The draft isn't even here yet. They didn't even go that big in free agency. So just that, having that 6.5 total right now, which I would go over to if I was a betting man, which I'm not. But that 6.5
sounds like you are a betting man. Sounds like you might be over on this.
Hey, for the Honolulu Blues purposes, all the boys and girls listening out there, I'm not a gambling man. But 6.5, I love it. It gives Lions to me. That's a nod of confidence from Vegas.
That's so true, right? I'm so sorry, Adam, but real quick, like skeleton crew last year, no worst roster, and we added not a lot. Draft isn't even here yet. I think that's the belief in Dan Campbell.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the belief in Jared Goff. I don't think it's a belief in DeAndre Swift being healthy or Frank Ragnow and making that much of an event. I think that's the belief in our coaches. I think Vegas sees it just like what we're seeing for the first time since possibly the Jim Schwartz era, in my opinion. And honestly, like that Schwartz era that started to bring us back from that 0-16 and got us like fighting dirty, play into the play, like end of the game, get into the playoffs. It was like the first time we had seen that as fans, because we didn't really get to see like the Bobby Ross era, the Wayne Fontes era. We didn't see like what it was. So our entire life, we just saw these shitty coaches and shitty regimes owning the Lions. And now, for the first time, maybe again since Schwartz, because I did have a lot of faith in Schwartz and I believed in him. We are seeing that. We are seeing like Vegas is seeing it. Everyone's seeing it. There is real belief going into year 2 for Dan Campbell. I'm telling you.
I think you're exactly right, Nick. Vegas 100%. Like you both said, we didn't, do crazy things. And, I mean, we do have, a couple nice draft picks, but still, those could be busts. You can't, Vegas isn't going to pen those guys in as studs that are going to impact the team. So the only thing I could think of is that they're looking at Dan Campbell thinking, this guy had a lot of one-score games. What are the chances he flips the script and wins more than he loses on those, one-score games? So,
and can we take this into the multiverse real quick? Can we bring up a universe where the Lions draft Malik Willis? Okay. Does that 6.5 go up or down after the draft? Or stay the same? I bet it drops to 5.5.
I'll probably say 4. It drops too.
I think it would. Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of interesting that they're setting that 6.
We'll have to ask our listeners.
Because Jared Goff, as much as we bag on him, he is our stability at quarterback right now. He is when people say, oh, who's your quarterback? Jared Goff. Not many teams can just give you a name. Some are looking for a name. So if we would add Malik Willis to that picture, it would just add uncertainty as far as gambling goes.
And then no certainty to the other positions that need certainty to come in. So it would be interesting to see if that 6.5 stayed if we drafted Malik Willis. You know what I mean? I think that 6.5 is based off of us drafting an edge. Yeah,
I will actually be interested to see after the draft to see if whoever we draft or whatever we do, see if it'll impact us at all. Because if we even get bumped up to 7 wins after the draft, I'll take it. That's a huge dub. So. Brad Holmes, he is completely winning all of Detroit's hearts. And the one thing that he did the other day that I knew I knew he had some sort of plan. And this was the Jared Davis signing. It was just so weird. So like, why do you sign this guy? And it's because it was like 90% incentive based. He gave him a veterans minimum contract, gave up literally nothing to get this guy. Granted, he could turn out to be another bust, but like I mentioned last episode, it shows me that Brad Holmes knows how to negotiate. So I'm excited for when we have legit studs coming in and we can get, just the best contract and get the most out of them before, they ask for the big old contract. So
I don't know. Did you say legit stud and Jared Davis in the same sentence? Because I don't know about that one.
I might have missed a comma somewhere.
Oh, okay. All right. Sounds good. Right on. I'm still not in on Jared Davis. I'm not. Even veteran minimum is too much in my opinion. Like this guy, oh man, unless you really got to hope. It's fingers crossed that it was really all just Matt Patricia ruined this guy. Like just ruined him. And Aaron Glenn can bring him back from the depths of hell. But to me, man, Jared Davis, I'm going to cringe the first time I see him out on that field. I'm going to be like,
do you think, no. I wonder if his same number was still available or if he had to get a new number.
He better change number. Get a different lifestyle in Detroit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He was number 40, right?
He was. Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
Who's 40 right now? Anyone?
I think so.
I know
don't
AJ
know.
Parker's 41 and Jerry Jacobs is 39. So,
We'll never know.
Yeah, whatever. Moving on. Next up, we have some movement in number 2 odds. As of right now, boys, if DraftKings is telling the truth, then we are getting one of two. Trevon Walker or Aiden Hutchinson. So either or. They're both plus 250, the leading top 2 guys for the second overall pick. I would be happy with both. If we somehow got Hutch out of this, then, pop the champagne, baby. That would be awesome. So what does your gut tell you right now? Is it leaning Hutch, Nick, or have you pivoted? I know you're about to take a sip of the beer. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. I'm wetting my whistle for this answer here. Hutch is not going to be a Lion.
He took his visit to Jacksonville today, too. So
the NFL repeats itself so much. Even the Jaguars just went and signed Arden Key, took him right from us, and then are going to go draft Aiden Hutchinson right from us too. Like that. That's just how it works. We've been getting snagged. So what happened is we missed on Aaron Donald, and now the NFL gods are cursing us by every chance we have to get this beautiful defensive lineman. They're taking it right away from us. So we're cursed. We're not getting Aiden Hutchinson, but we are going to get Kayvon Thibodeau. I'm 100%. I'm laying it down right now. My final mock draft will have Kayvon Thibodeau at 2. We're going to get him. And he's going to be a superstar, and it will be okay that we didn't get Hutch because Hutch's knee is going to blow out in a couple of years, and Kayvon's going to keep rocking.
There's a lot of mixed emotions about Kayvon Thibodeau, but Lions sent out 7 scouts to his pro day, which I don't know why you need 7 guys to evaluate, but hey, that tells you something. So, Julius, are you back on the Kayvon Thibodeau train? Because I know you were in and out on him a bit, but
I'm not sure. Honestly, I'm not sure about anything in this draft. I'm not even about to pretend that I do know anything. All I do know is that Kayvon Thibodeau could be a bust, could be Javion Clowney, or he could have 18 sacks a season by 2024. I don't know. If we get him at number 2, it'd be some mixed reactions. I can tell you that right now. But let me be the first to say that I don't think the Lions are out of it on Hutchinson. Okay. Maybe because I'm a Michigan slappy, and I want to see number 97 in the Lions uniform. But I still think it's a chance the Jags take a tackle.
You're right. And I'll tell you why you're right. Because if we're thinking about what franchises are incompetent enough to make a silly mistake like this, and you think, the Lions, the Browns, the Jets, the Jaguars. And honestly, if the Jaguars tried to get cute and we're like, oh no, Trayvon Walker, this guy's generational. Look at his his scores, his charts, his stats. He's freaking nature. And they tried to get cute and did something like that. It would not shock me. I could see it too. But as of right now, I don't think we're gonna get Hutchinson. I think
the Jaguars have drafted 1 tackle since 2013 in the first round of a draft. 1 tackle. Since then, they've drafted 3 defensive linemen and a linebacker/edge, which we can just basically say is 4 defensive linemen in the first round since 2013. That is either going to mean that they put enough investment into their defensive line with Josh Allen in 2019. Clavon Chasen in 2020, Taven Bryan 2018. I don't even know if he's on the team, but regardless, those are like very recent too. Defensive linemen drafted first round. So either they've put everything they're already going to put into that defensive line, and they're going to get offensive line now, or that just shows you that they are just literally that is how they think they're going to win. That is how the owner thinks they're going to win. That is why the GM, whomever it may be, thinks they're going to win. So we'll see what happens. That is such a 50-50. I don't remember the last draft that was really who is it gonna be? You know what I mean? I guess Baker was kind of up in the air, him or Sam Darnold, but it's a fun draft, that's for sure.
And honestly, I think once we get 2 days out, day of, I think we'll know the true secrets, because that's usually how it happens. The teams can only keep it in for so long, and then finally someone leaks, hey, no, they're really liking this guy. It's probably him. That's kind of what happened with Baker Mayfield. You mentioned it a minute ago, Nick. Baker was like not in the first overall pick category for quite some time. And then all of a sudden, like 3 days before the draft, it's Baker. It's going to be Baker. And sure enough, people were like, no way. It's Sam Darnold for sure, And sure enough, Browns won't Baker. So it's interesting to see what teams do in the final, days and minutes, and how they just show their cards. But one thing that the Lions have been kind of mentioning, I don't know, Jeremy Fowler posted it, but we're open to trading the number 2 pick. And as much as I like this and would love to trade the 2 pick for a haul or something, nice, it just gives me flashbacks to us talking about the 2019 draft and how, teams are calling in on the number 3 pick. We got tons of trade interest on the number 3 pick. They're going to trade up for a quarterback. And then nobody did. And then we took Jeff Okudah, the pick that everyone was like, okay, hopefully this works out. And, granted, he got injured, so we still don't know. But I feel like it's another smoke screen. Am I wrong, Nick? Or do you think there's some legitimacy here?
I'm been on a big. That's what we need to do. We need to trade. We don't need to trade back either. We need to trade out. Trade to next year. Get out of this class. Wait till next year and just have a slew of draft picks, right? If we can get 2 first-round picks next year and another first-round pick this year, so any team that has 2 picks next year, you take both of them and whatever pick they have right now for our number 2, that's ideal. That's fully on ideal. I do not want to trade back for 2 picks this year. There's no one that excites me. But because there's no one that excites me, that's the main reason why I don't think anyone's trading up for 2. Who are they trading up for? Maybe Evan Neal, right? So if Aiden Hutchinson goes first, maybe one of those tackles. Maybe the Seahawks are desperate and they need to get their offensive tackle because they don't have a single offensive lineman on that team. So maybe that happens. Maybe someone wants Kayvon Thibodeau or Trayvon Walker or Malik Willis so much they want to go up to 2. I just don't buy it because all those guys could easily slip to 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Like that's it. There's so much parity in this draft class. Where is Sauce Gardner going? Is he going to the Jets at 4? Is he going to drop back? Where's Kyle Hamilton going to go? Is he going to drop to 11 with Washington? There's just no certainty in this draft. And when that's the case, I just like last year, I don't think there'll be a lot of trades. I think it's just teams are going to rattle off their draft pick. We're all going to be waiting. Who's trading? And just one by one, teams are going to draft players. And that's just what's going to end up happening.
Yeah, and then honestly, you said it perfectly, Nick. There's just too many guys that in teams' minds will think, he could slide to 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 or whatever. And so with that happening, their teams know they'll have at least, one guy come to them. So I feel like a lot of teams are comfortable with like 4 or 5 different players, and they know for a fact that they will be able to get one. I mean, not for a fact, but they're very confident. So, Julius, any thoughts?
Well, honestly, I don't think we have any trade value at 2 because of the quarterback situation. And it's sucky, but that is what it is. That doesn't mean there's not a player available that's not worthy of 2 that we shouldn't take or will end up taking. So in that regard, I mean, unless the Jets or the Giants want to give us those 2 top 10s, I'm expecting the Lions to make a selection.
So now let me ask you guys this. If the Saints now come calling because they just made a trade with the 16th, 19th, and the 49th pick, is that entertaining at all?
So I'll jump the reins. I don't. Like I said, I don't. First off, like this class isn't as good as next year. There's a lot of hidden talent in this class, but next year is going to have a lot more depth. Trade out. Just like the Eagles that trade out of this year. We're like, as much as I just said we're going to win 10 games, we might be able to do that. Honestly, we could probably do that without a first-round pick this year, honestly. I still believe that. Regardless, this isn't really the Lions Super Bowl year, right? And if we can just delay that one more year and just get, we already got 2 picks next year. Let's get 2 more. Let's have 4 first-round picks next year. Then we can start trading back. Then we can trade out again, but still have 2 or 3 picks. then we can do so many different things with way better quarterbacks, way more interest in trading. That's what I want. So no, Saints, keep all 3 picks this year. I do not need to load up on 7 guys or 6 guys inside the top 100, and then in 4 or 5 years have to come and re-sign all these guys. You know what I mean? Like, we got to space these out. I don't want to stack them all up in 1 year. Trade out if we can, but no thank you, Saints.
Yeah, Julius, that sound interesting at all. 16, 19, and 49 would give us 5 in the top 50.
Well, seeing as we have the number 2 pick and not the 16th and the 18th pick or whatever Philly had, I want the boat if I'm trading out. And I want it to be from a team that's going to have has a high prospect of having a very high draft pick next season. But I mean, it's on the table. It's on the table, but I don't want to miss out on a great player. And I know there's always players like when you look back in the draft in a year or two, it's never what you saw it as beforehand. So, I'm holding out a lot more hope that there's a good player the Lions can get at too.
I mean, there should be. What me and Nick have been saying, because there's just got to be a couple of studs that fall, 32, fall 34. So brings me to my next question. Does the pick at 2 impact who you guys want at 32 and or 34? Julius, we'll start with you first.
Yeah, because say we pick Malik Willis at 2.
Yeah.
Then I want them to go on a defensive marathon for the rest of the draft. Literally, quarterback, defense. I mean, if they want to throw a receiver in there somewhere, fine. But if that's the plan, but if they go edge, like they probably will, then, I expect a receiver with one of those picks, to be honest. And I'm sure every other Lions fan does too.
Yeah, it's I agree. If we take Malik, or honestly, I think Malik's the only offensive player that, even if we did make a trade, do you see the Lions, if we make a trade, do you see the Lions taking any offensive player that's not a quarterback or Malik Willis, Nick?
Could be receiver if we drop back to 7. Okay. If the Giants give us pick 7 and second round next year, whatever, first round, and they move up to 2, we move back to 7. Maybe we take Garrett Wilson or Drake London right there. That'd be the only. I would love it. I've said this a couple times. Honestly, if we got a right guard, if we somehow move back to 16 and 18 or whatever, and that's what we end up doing, and we get Zion Johnson to play right guard for us, I'm so about that. I think just adding, stirring up that right guard spot instead of Big B, get a rookie in there who could flash just like Jonah Jackson. We'd have the most stout offensive line in the world. We'd never have to throw the ball. Jared Goff should have 5-6 seconds of pass, and Swift should have holes left and right. So as crazy as it would be, and people will be like, oh my gosh, our defense. It's dude, we can control the clock so much better with a right guard and a great offensive line than some safety, honestly.
Yeah, I agree. It's gonna be interesting to see how just the Lions do. But to hop into the pick 32-34 talk, I guess hopefully, I should say hopefully, because there's just no way that Brett Holmes and Dan Campbell and the Rasheed doesn't realize this or notice this. But if we take whatever guy we take at 32, it kind of it matters, because we get that 5th-year option with pick 32 as opposed to pick 34. So there's, I guess, some different outcomes where we could, either take a certain guy at 32 to make sure we get his 5th-year option, and then we know Jacksonville, I guess, depending on who's there, well, you could kind of give an idea of who they might take, and then we could take where we want at 34 and not 32. So, Nick, who will jump back to you? Who is your, first ideal thoughts at 32?
You have to get a receiver here. I'm trying to pull up the stats real quick. Let's see if I can find it. Wide receivers, okay, are the second highest paid position other than a quarterback. So in the NFL, broken down for all the players, The highest paid quarterback, number one, obviously. Number two, and not too much far, let's see if I find it, is wide receiver. Thank you, pop-up ad. Okay, no, I lied. So 20.4 quarterback, 18.8 million defensive end, 17 wide receiver. Whereas if we took like Nakobe Dean, right, instead of a wide receiver there, that linebacker is getting paid so much less than that wide receiver when it comes to a re-sign. Okay, we can save that 5th year and save us 1 year of paying this outrageous $18 million contract to Christian Watson or Jahan Dotson or George Pickens, whoever we draft, for 1 more year, and pay Nakobe Dean his price, who we got at 34, right? There's so much. That's the business side that people don't like to think about. That you're so right about that 5th year option. Like, that's going to be a huge make or break on some of these players. And the Lions' business endeavors 4 or 5 years in the future. So that 32nd pick is huge. I would like to get a receiver with that, get that 5th year option on that receiver and linebacker. After the 4 years are up, we'll come talking.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Julius, any thoughts on pick 32? Are you on the receiver board?
I mean, Nick kind of started to talk me into it a little bit. I can see when you explain it in contractual terms, because people don't think about that, how much more money that receiver is going to cost you than that linebacker, in 4 or 5 years down the line. I'm thinking we should already be thinking about Amon-Ra St. Brown, because if he keep it up, he going to want $20 million per.
That's so true. And that's a few years away. You know what I mean? We're going to have to sign him in 3 years, or in 2 years, his 3rd year.
Looking us in the face.
And then, not to mention, these receivers, man, they want that coin. They want that money. So, I mean, if Amon-Ra, if he has 2-3 great seasons and he's just demanding a big contract, I would hope, the Lions don't let it get to, murky ugliness where we have to trade him, something happens. But it could get to a point where, Amon-Ra is like, yay, in the offseason, pay me or trade me. And Lions fans will not like that, because I can guarantee you a lot of Chiefs fans were not expecting Tyreek Hill to go bye-bye that year. And honestly, most Packers fans were probably not even expecting Adams to get traded, but Adams did have that slight connection to Derek Carr, so you could kind of see it. But the Tyreek Hill, that was
and if you go back to Juju's rookie year, how many Steelers fans would be like, "Oh, we'll trade away, we'll let Juju walk after 4 years, 4 or 5 years." You know what I mean? Like, things can change, but you just right now as a Lions fan, you're like, dude, we got to share this guy up right now. You know what I mean? But anything, when you're a receiver, like, it's in the NFL right now with the amount of trades and stuff like that, like, you never know. You just never know.
Exactly. What else? Honestly, pick 34. So, Nick, if we're going wide receiver 32, that's kind of what I'm thinking too. If we go defensive tackle, defensive end, pick 2. Then we go wide receiver, pick 32. Are we going DBs 34? Are we looking at some quarterbacks, or?
God, no on the quarterback. Do not get a quarterback unless you're getting them at 2. But after that, so I want Christian Watson or George Pickens at 32. If Nakobe Dean's there at 34, you get him, linebacker out of Georgia. That is who can shore up our defense. That would be an amazing, amazing, amazing steal. Do I think he's there? Maybe not, but the NFL is crazy. Who knows what's going to happen? But if he's gone, Daxton Hill out of Michigan, safety, can play the slot cornerback position. That would be huge for us. He's a playmaker and a Dan Campbell-esque player, in my opinion. He would fit our scheme so well. Lewis Kine, safety out of Georgia, is another guy I'd be looking for. Safety, linebacker, right? Another linebacker. If Nakobe Dean is there, Chad Muma, probably maybe the second most outside of Nakobe Dean and Devin Lloyd, so maybe the third most pro-ready linebacker, ready to step in and be effective on your team for day one. Chad Muma out of Wyoming, I believe. Great athlete coming out. Another one I had, Zion Johnson. If Zion Johnson wants to fall to us for pick 34, we want to shore up the right guard position with that way. Oh, man, I'm telling you, give me a right guard. I'd be happy this year. But those are some of the top guys I want. I want receiver, or edge or quarterback, receiver, and then safety or linebacker. No cornerbacks, Nothing like that. I want safety or linebacker at pick 34. That's what we have to do.
That's kind of what I'm feeling too. I will say it's going to be interesting because 3 of the 4 picks right before pick 32 are Green Bay, who needs wide receiver, Kansas City, and then Cincinnati, who definitely is going to take a wide receiver. But Green Bay, Kansas City, you got to imagine for sure 1 wide receiver, probably 2. Do you think Kansas City takes back-to-back receivers? Do you think there's a shot there?
I don't. I actually think they're going to take Daxton Hill in front of us. But I do bet they get Sky Moore out of Western Michigan. Fastest receiver there is.
They've been talking about him too. Julius, you got any thoughts on who we take at 32 if we go wide receiver or 34 if we go wide receiver at 32 and edge/tackle at 2?
Barring a quarterback, which I know that's not what Nick wants to hear, but it's possible. Because I think there's going to be a bull rush on quarterbacks at the end of this draft. Like we're going to see Ritter, Coral, even Malik Willis. I feel like the quarterbacks aren't going to start going off the board till later in the draft for some reason. But as far as pick 34, I mean, if Dax Hill want to fall there, and we already got Aiden Hutchinson, we want to bring the other Wolverine on board. You know what I'm saying? That sounds like a great pairing to me because last scouting report I read, one Lion scout said Daxton Hill on-field awareness is as crisp as Will Harris with speed. They called him Will Harris with speed. Now, you might think that's an insult. Will Harris is notorious slow, so the speed isn't. But Will Harris, in a lot of times, is in decent position on the field. He just don't have the athleticism to keep up with a bunch of guys. He gets burnt out of his britches, with quicker wide receivers. But I take Will Harris with speed at 34. I take Dax Hill, and you mentioned Zion Johnson. I've seen some mocks that got Tyler Linderbaum falling to the second round. Throw him at right guard until Ragnar ready to play center. I don't know. It's so many options. I love 32 and 34. I really love those picks. I have dreams about them. And I'm very
Someone brought up, and I think it was actually Daniel Jeremiah, us trading 32 and 34 to move up with like the Eagles at 15 to get Malik Willis or to get like Devin Lloyd, the linebacker. Would we want to trade away those 2 picks, Julius, or to get one of those top guys? No. It's too fun to have all those picks. Yeah.
I trade them to get into the top 10, maybe for like is it Kyle Hamilton from Notre Dame? What's his name? Yeah. If Kyle Hamilton's sitting at 9 and we want to give up 32 and 34, we already got Aiden or Kayvon Thibodeau or whoever at 2. You want to throw Hamilton in the deal with it. Then I'll feel better about letting go of those precious picks at 32 and 34.
That would be a deal if we came with Kyle Hamilton and Thibodeau or Hutch. Oh man,
I will tag if we come away with like Hutch and like Hamilton, Thibodeau and Hamilton, 2 of the big 3. I will tattoo Holmes, the little Brad Holmes tattoo.
Oh man, don't write checks your ass can't cash, buddy. I'll be holding you to this.
Hey, I'd say I'm big with you. I'll go a little itty bitty, like little line with a BH.
I might have to call Brad. Brad's watching. He watches our show.
Oh, bro, he's scheming right now. He is totally scheming right now.
Definitely.
He's like, shoot, this boy's gonna get a tattoo.
He's like, I'm gonna make this happen right now.
100%. But Julius, honestly, you got me thinking about this, and how funny would it be if the Lions just went full-blown Michigan and we, lucked into Hutchinson, 32 we got Daxton Hill, 34 we took Ojabo, and then like 4th rounder we took Hassan Haskins. And honestly, State fans, Ohio State fans, whatever, Michigan haters, that would be a killer draft if we got those 4 guys. I don't know. As a Michigan fan, I would totally love that. But Nick,
throw in like Andrew Stuber in the 5th round to play right guard.
I'd take all 5 of those dudes.
100%. But I think that's about all the draft.
Let's talk about Hogginson. Let's talk about Hogginson's contract.
That's what I'm moving on to. TJ Hogginson. This is nothing right now is big on him, but obviously this is kind of the last year we're gonna have with our space, because if he has a good season this year, he's going to demand some money. So with that being said, are you guys okay with paying him top 3 tight end money? We'll start you first, Nick. You look like you're...
Oh, I am ready. I'm born ready. Luckily, we got a 5th-year option on Hogginson, right? So we don't have to do what Philadelphia did with Goddard, what Baltimore did with Mark Andrews, and have to pay him after 3 years. Okay, we get a 4th year out of this, and that's the handy part. I drafted him in the first round. Top 3 money right now in tight ends: George Kittle, $15 million; Travis Kelce, $14.3 million; Dallas Goedert, $14.25 million. 4th, 5th, Mark Andrews, $14 million; Hunter Henry, 12.5 years. Okay, so you're saying I need to pay Hockenson $14 million a year or more. Well, let's look at this. George Kittle's first 3 years in the NFL had 500 yards his first year, 1,300, then 1,000. Okay, Travis Kelce's first 3 years, and now we know he's getting paid for what he's doing recently, but the first 3 years in the NFL, 0, 800 plus, 800 plus. Okay, Goddard, 300, 600, 500. So it's like Goddard got paid this top 3 cash after putting up 300, 600, 500. And that's what we've been doing with Hockenson, who put up 300, 700, 600 basically. Now, he was on pace this year to eclipse 800 yards, but he didn't make it. Finished with 12 games played for the 2nd time out of 3 years. That's injury concerns. That's point A. Now, you got these the top 3, we'll add Mark Andrews in there, so the top 4 tight ends, all of them outproduced TJ Hockenson. Where Hockenson falls into is a group that's Dalton Schultz, 100 yards, 0 yards, 600. Then he had 600 year 4. Mike Gesicki, 200 yards, 500 yards, 700 yards. Then he got 800. Dallas Goedert, 300, 600, 500, 800, even though he's in the top 3. Okay, Mark Andrews, who is 4th, is like the top 3, or is top 3 tight end. That's where it all gets puzzling, I guess I would say. Where do you find and see Hockenson moving forward? He's not George Kittle. George Kittle put up way better stats than him in his first 3 years and will continue. He's not Travis Kelce. You can see this by looking at their stats early on in their career. It's a foreshadow of rarely, and now we saw this with Mark Andrews. He seems to be one of the outliers. That 4th year, he went from Andrews 500, 850, 700, which is already better than Hockenson, to 1,300 year 4. I don't see Hockenson getting 1,300 yards this year. I don't see Hockenson eclipsing 1,000 yards this year. I'll be pretty shocked if Hockenson eclipses 850 yards this year and gets more than 5 or 6 touchdowns. That is who he is. We overdrafted him. He is a very relevant piece for our team. He is a core piece for our team. But he is not going to be Travis Kelce or George Kittle. We all have to get that out of our mind. Absolutely no way am I paying this guy $14 million a year right now. I would never do that. I won't do that. At best, he deserves $11 million. That gets him 7th best, maybe 12, which still stays at 7. He doesn't deserve Hunter Henry money. He doesn't deserve Jonnu Smith money, which is 12.5. Both paid by the Patriots.
He should, though. It's Jonnu Smith.
Maybe, but Jonnu Smith was better than him in his first years in the NFL. So. He didn't do well in New England, but those guys are better than Hockenson has been stat-wise. They've also been better than him in play-wise, as in the games that they've played compared to Hockenson. Hockenson stays healthy for next year, plays 16 games, and surprises all of us and puts up 950 yards, right? 5 touchdowns. Do you think he's the top 3 tight end in the NFL? Do you really think that? I personally just don't. And I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy, but I'm not.
It's tough because the Lions, we just saw Amon-Ra break out. We added DJ Chark, and now we still are talking. Lions aren't backing down from wide receiver talks and draft. So we could easily take one at 32, 34, maybe 3rd, 4th, whatever. But we're likely going to be getting another wide receiver in this draft. So with that being said, there's some good weapons around Goff, and it's not necessarily that Hogginson is going to be the number one target. He's just not good enough to be the number one target. I would rather have Amon-Ra being that guy and maybe even DJ Chark being that guy. And I'm not knocking on Hogginson, but it's just, I agree, Nick, that 14 million, top 3, even top 5 would be tough, because if we give him that money this offseason, next offseason, whatever, then that puts a little stress, pressure, thoughts in the back of the heads of Brad Holmes when he knows he has to get a deal done with Amon-Ra in 1 or 2 years. When Amon-Ra he's our prized possession right now. Him and Swift are kind of like the 2 skill position weapons that we need to lock down. And honestly, Swift, maybe even not so much just because of his position, but if it comes down to who do we want to give the big bucks to, Hogginson this year or wait a year, let Hogginson go and make sure we get Amon-Ra, and I would much rather do that Amon-Ra scenario. Julius, what are some of your thoughts on Hogginson?
Well, Hogginson, he was a high draft pick, and we had a lot of expectations when you're tight end drafted that high, especially the Lions after Pettigrew and Ebron. And he's shown some flashes, but let me tell you what I'm going to need in 2022, 2023 from TJ Hogginson in order for me to feel comfortable signing him to be one of the highest paid tight ends in the NFL. I'm going to need him to have over 1,000 yards receiving. He's going to need to play 15 games or more. He's going to need to score 8 touchdowns or more. And he's going to have to be one of the top 10 to 15 run blockers in the NFL at his position, or else consider letting him walk. Simple as that, because the money could be spent elsewhere for what is being forecast. I mean, 14 million per. I don't know. I honestly, Adam, you say you rather pay Swift. I'm not sure about that either until he shows that he could play more than 10 games in a season. I'm not ready to pay anybody until I see stability. And TJ Hogginson has not shown stability yet. So I like him, but I tell you my expectations. I'm dead set on those expectations.
3 years in the NFL. Eric Ebron, Brandon Pettigrew, TJ Hockenson.
We better
Let's
never
have a
take
little
another
fun.
first-round tight end ever again.
Hold on. Ebron, Pettigrew, Hockenson. Who finished their first 3 yards with more receiving yards out of all 3? Who had the most receiving yards?
Pettigrew.
Pettigrew. Ebron. I'm just saying Ebron because I think it's a trick question.
It is Pettigrew.
Oh,
he had Stafford's 5,000 yard season.
I guess so. Yeah, that's crazy.
He had 340 yards his first year, 700 plus, then another 700 plus. Okay. Eric Ebron, 248 his first year, 500 plus, then 700 plus. TJ Hockenson, 300 plus, 700 plus, 500 plus. He's honestly, out of all 3 on stats, he had Matt Stafford and Hawkinson's had.
Oh, you know what you're going to have to do, Nick, don't you? You're going to have to put up a poll or a stat or a tweet of 3 ABC tight ends and just list the stats and say, who do you want? And people are going to be surprised when they're clicking Brandon Pettigrew over TJ Hockenson.
That's 100% true. I will do that tonight. That's what I'm saying, though. Like, Hockenson hasn't earned it. We all had so much hype for him, and I don't know what it is. I don't know. He didn't have as many drops as Ebron, right? So we don't hate him as much. But realistically,
I guarantee you guys both. I mean, you can't maybe not remember the exact play, but we both can remember. There's been a couple times where it's like, oh, Hawk, come on, man, where he's had a couple little, ticky-tacky things. So definitely a big reach for 107, 108, whatever we took him at. But the thing that's going to suck the most is TJ Hawkinson's a bro. He's an awesome dude. And we're going to get to watch him on Hard Knocks. And all of Detroit Nation is going to fall in love with this guy. So,
dude, he looks like a stoner, and all Michigan are stoners.
It's going to be a tough pill to swallow when Brad Holmes goes, you know what? No, I'm not paying him. He didn't do enough.
Unless he does what Julius says. If he puts up over 1,000, 8 touchdowns, bring them all back. You know what I mean? We got a good one.
Even I'll say this. If he contributes to a playoff run or, a playoff appearance, then I could look at that, because I think, like you said, Julius, I'm not sure how good of a blocker Hogginson is. I think he's been pretty solid over the years. But if he could turn into, just a beast in which we've seen him pull out that inner, George Kittle, crazy man madness, if he could get that down on a weekly basis, then, yeah, maybe he could deserve this money. But
he just doesn't have the speed. He doesn't have the speed. Like where Kyle Pitts is going to have 1,000 yards every single year of his career. He's got the speed. He's elite. Hawkinson's just like a slower Greg Olsen.
He's got kind of like a cruise control speed, It's not like that max burst.
Just big man speed, you know what I mean? Like it's still faster than us for sure, but it's just
he's
not gonna get
not speed. It's the big man speed,
Yeah,
but,
big man speed, tight end speed.
I think that is gonna do it for us, boys.
Hell yeah.
Next week we'll be back on. It's looking like Monday is gonna be the usual showtime.
Not next Monday. I'll be at Detroit Tigers versus Boston Red Sox in Comerica. First Tigers game of the year for myself. Opening day Friday. I cannot wait. I will not be there, but I'll be watching. I will be there Monday for the first game against the Red Sox. So Tuesday, boys, live on the air. We're figuring this out. We're doing it Tuesday.
Hey, maybe we'll do a little Tigers recap too. We'll toss that in there. And then
hopefully
also,
I remember the game.
While we're talking Tigers, I'm bummed is it that Riley Green had to just break his ankle, right before week 1. I will say, hopefully Detroit is in a good luck spell or whatever, and Spencer Torkelson just shows out, and he's the dude right now. Then we've discovered him right now, thanks to Riley Green, because Torkelson probably wasn't going to be pulled up for at least a bit, I think, but definitely stinks losing Riley Green.
Yeah, Riley. I don't know. I don't know if they're connected. Spencer's gonna be first base. Riley will be in the outfield.
I think it was just that spot more or less.
But yeah, spot opened up, and now Spencer's coming to play first. He's gonna be starting. It's Cade Cunningham, Mo Sider, Lucas Raymond, add Spencer Torkelson, Riley Green, Casey Mize, Matt Manning. The freaking Tigers are loaded with these young kids. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Detroit is young and coming. Let's go. Young, done, and full of.
It's only a matter of time, boys. I mean, 2024 will be hosting the draft, raising Super Bowl championship banners. It's going to be Detroit's going to be popping these next few years. Just get ready. But as always, check us out on YouTube if you're watching right now. Give us a like, subscribe, whatever. Spotify, iTunes, all that good stuff. We love it all. And make sure you check our Twitter out, Honolulu Blues _ We always got good tweets popping on there. We're going to have some more later tonight. And if you're listening, keep an eye out for that poll so you don't get tricked into picking Brandon Pettigrew over TJ Hawkinson. Because I think we can all agree that out of those 3 tight ends, no matter what stats say, that we would all have Hawkinson, right?
100%.
Yeah, okay.
Though Pettigrew caught that 2-point conversion to beat the Browns with Stafford's broken arm. I always remember him for that.
Oh, let's see. And then also Pettigrew should have had the game-winning, I guess, catch, whatever.
Solidifying.
These things to certify the Lions getting the playoff dub. But
and then the Lions gave him a 4-year contract, and in the same offseason, a month and a half later, drafted Eric Ebron in the first round. Way to go, Lions. Woo-hoo. Let's not do that ever again.
I will say, real quick before we sign off, what if we let TJ Hawkinson go next year? And Lions are in, I don't know, however the draft shakes up, but Brock Wright from Georgia, that stud tight end who's faster than fast, basically a wide receiver. Would you guys be opposed?
We could draft that kid whether we keep TJ Hawkinson or not.
I'm not drafting a tight end in the first round for the next 35 years. I don't care whom it is.
I agree.
That kid is a freak, though. He is.
Yeah,
he's a freak. He's going to be good.
I don't have a lot of them, but yeah, you're right. He's good. Yeah.
He's going to be good.
Well, boys, we will catch you all next week, Tuesday.
Let's go.
Always, go Lions.